Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the Barricade Trail Force HD style full width front bumper fitting 2021 and newer Broncos, excluding the Raptor. Now this is going to be a great choice for the Bronco owner who wants their rig to look good and work hard. It offers a lot of additional protection and functionality in an easy and affordable package. Now, as the name suggests, this is a full width front bumper, but it's also compact enough that you could almost call it a stubby. It does run the full width of the front end though, and it's going to add some additional capability to your rig. Even as compared to the factory modular bumper, this one is going to offer you more clearance. On the sides here, it's going to cut up a little bit higher and tighter to the body of the Bronco, so the shorter overall height is going to give you a better approach angle than stock as well. It's overall a pretty rugged look, and it gives the Bronco more of that aggressive appearance than the factory setup. Now, adding to that is, of course, the large overrider hoop we have up top here. Now, it's not the largest one we've seen out there, but it too blends protection and style quite well. It's going to help protect your grille from any larger obstacles or debris that you might encounter out there. And you've also got provisions up top here for some additional lighting if you want to mount those up later. Now, down on the bumper, you're also going to find a few other areas with some additional cool stuff. Two spots on the outer edges. Right here, these pockets are going to be for some fog lights for additional lighting. And while that's not included with this setup, you can put in pretty much whatever fits in there. And on the outside, you've got a set of D-ring shackle mounts, included D-rings here too, and those are rated for up to 9,500 pounds. So, suffice it to say, this thing is plenty capable of getting you out of whatever you might encounter out on the trail. And perhaps more importantly, it also includes provisions for your front parking sensor. So if your Bronco came so equipped from the factory, you can just pop those parking sensors right in here, and you've got a fully capable front bumper that's even got a winch mount and included parking sensors, which is great. It's going to retain the full functionality of your rig, but you get the good looks, the additional capability, and the extra protection. Now, this was also designed to be a bolt-in installation too, so you don't need to modify your rig to get this fitted. The inclusion of the words heavy duty in the name of this is not a mistake. It's really a solid piece. This is constructed from 3mm thick steel, so it's heavy, but it's also tough. It also gets Barricade's signature two-stage finish as well, which starts with an epoxy pre-coating, and it's topped off with this texture black powder coat that you see here. So that's going to give it some additional layers of protection against rust and corrosion, meaning that if you're out on the street or out on the trail, this is going to be able to handle the bumps and bruises and stay looking good for a while. This is also going to pair really well with any of the different HD rear bumpers that Barricade offers, so if you're looking for a match set, we've got you covered there as well. Pricing for this one is going to come in at about $800, and that makes it one of the more affordable front bumpers in the segment, especially for a full width one that includes a winch mount. And like we were discussing a few moments ago, you are going to save a bit of money up front because this one doesn't include the additional lighting, but if you've got it or want to add it later, you've got the capability to do so. Overall, this is a really solid piece for a solid deal, and if you're after that more aggressive look and a more capable bumper for your rig, you really can't go wrong with this one. Now, installation is going to get a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. Now, like we discussed earlier, the bumper itself is just going to bolt right on, and you don't have to modify anything on your Bronco. Now, I always say this when it comes to bumpers, you are going to want to have a friend on hand to help you out with this though. Even these smaller bumpers are a bit tricky to get into place. While you might be able to lift it yourself, getting it into place and holding it there while you get those bolts started really requires another set of hands. So grab a friend, bribe them with some food or pizza or whatever, have them come over and give you a hand with this, and you're gonna have a really cool looking Bronco in only a couple of hours. All that said, let's head on out to the shop now and we'll walk you through that installation process.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun, a 3/8 and a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a short extension, an 8, a 13, a 15, and an 18mm socket, a 4 and a 5mm Allen key, a T40 Torx bit, a trim panel removal tool, a small screwdriver, an 8mm wrench, the supplied Allen key, and some sort of cable management system. Hi everyone, today we're installing a front bumper on our Bronco, so let's get started by watching a short video on how to uninstall the front bumper.
So our first step is to remove our skid plate. Now we have 4 bolts. The front 2 we need to fully remove. The back 2 we can just loosen and then slide this whole skid plate forward. So we'll grab a 15mm socket to take these out. Next we can come to our tow hooks, and we have 4 push clips that we need to pop out, and then we can pop off this cover. So I got a clip remover tool, pop these off. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we need to remove our 3 15mm bolts on each side. Now I'm gonna leave one in just hand tight until we have a buddy and we're ready to take this off, because we do have a harness on the other side that we can't access until we get the bumper slouched forward a little bit. So I'll take my 15mm socket and get these out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can disconnect our bumper harness. Now the connector is going to be right above the bumper on the driver's side. We have a tab on the front that we can press in and disconnect. So now we're ready to remove our front bumper. I've got myself a buddy. We're going to remove the last bolt that's holding it in on each side, and then we can remove our bumper. Next, we can remove our 4 8mm bolts that hold in our shutter assembly. So we'll grab an 8mm socket to get these out. Now for the two up top, we're going to get those out with an 8mm ratcheting wrench. And then with those removed, we can pull back on our shutter assembly. And then we just have a harness up top and a bunch of clips that we need to disconnect to fully remove it. So now we can remove our connector. We have a red tab that we need to pry up on. And then we can press in on our tab to remove it. And then we just have a bunch of clips that we can pop out with a clip remover tool. Next, we can come to the back side of our frame horns. We have a plastic nut on each side that holds in our 3-nut plate. So we need to remove both of these nuts, and then we can remove our plate. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So now if you have a bumper with no parking sensors, you're done with the uninstall at this point. If you do have the parking sensors, now comes the fun part of basically taking every bolt out of this bumper. So we're going to start with our 13mm bolts and our 10mm bolt in the middle to remove this inner bracket. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side and move on. So now we can take our 13mm socket to get these 4 bolts out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Now the last thing we need to do is pop off this bottom plate to remove our harness. Now we have 2 more T40 bolts here and 3 more on the other side going into these U-clips. So we'll pop those out, pop these 3 clips out, and then we can remove our harness. So once again, I've got T40 Torx bit. And then we can flip it over and get the 3 bolts on the other side. So now that our inner piece is loose, we can go ahead and pop out all of these push clips. Now this is going to be the same on each side. Besides on this side, we have our harness that's gonna go to our body. So we have an extra 4 clips on the outside. So we'll grab a clip remover tool and pop these out. So now we've spun our bumper around. Our next step is to remove this inner bracket. We have 3 bolts here and then 1 bolt over here. Once again, we're going to be using that T40 Torx bit to take these out. And now coming over just a couple inches from that bracket, we just have 1 more clip on each side. So once again with the clip remover tool, we'll just pop that out and we can fully remove our harness. So now we've got this folded over, rotated it once again. We need to pop out these 3 clips and then we can disconnect the connectors on our parking sensors. Now on our parking sensors, we're just going to push in on the tab and wiggle those out of place. And then to remove our parking sensors, we can just pry back on these tabs. And wiggle them out. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. So now we've spun our bumper back around again, and we have 3 more T40 bolts that we need to remove. So now we can grab this plate and flip it over. We have our 3 clips we need to pop out. And now coming over just a couple inches from that bracket, we just have 1 more clip on each side. So once again with the clip remover tool, we'll just pop that out and we can fully remove our harness.
So the first thing we need to do getting ready to install our bumper is install our overrider hoop. And to do that, we're going to be using these M8 bolts with Allen head on them and a flat washer and a flange nut. So we're going to need 3 for each side. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So we'll set this in place, insert our bolt, and then from the back side, we'll go ahead and install our nut. And we'll go ahead and put one on the other side just to hold it in place. And install a nut over there as well. Now we go ahead and place all the rest of them in. Now, once you've got all of your nuts and bolts in place, we can go ahead and tighten them all down with a 5mm Allen wrench. And now we can do the same thing for the other side. Now, if you have adaptive cruise control, you will need to transfer the module from the OEM bumper to the new bumper. We do not have one, so we're not going to go through the process of telling you how to do that. it's basically a simple process of separating it from the mounting bracket and installing it here. So we're going to be using our block-off plate. Now the block-off plate also is directional, so you can only put it in one way because of the offset of the bottom hole. If you try and put it in the other way, the holes will not line up on the bottom. So we're going to use our M6 Allen head bolt with a flat washer and a flange nut on the back side. So we'll go ahead and insert our first one here, and then with that in place, we'll go ahead and attach one of our nuts on the back side. And now we'll do the same thing for the other two bolts. All right, now once you've got all the bolts installed with their nuts, we go ahead and tighten them down using a 4mm Allen bit. Now, if your vehicle does not have parking or proximity sensors, then what you can do is use these plastic plugs that are included in the kit to go ahead and fill in the holes for the parking sensors. All you have to do is just take them and press them into the hole and they will snap in and lock in place. Now our vehicle does have parking sensors, so we've got a little bit more work to do to actually get those reinstalled on the new bumper. Now to reinstall our parking sensors in our new bumper, first thing we're going to do is remove the silicone ring that surrounds the sensor here, and you can just use your fingernail or a small screwdriver. They're not that hard to take off. And then once you take that off, you've got these rubber gaskets that are going to go on this as well. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and punch out the center of these gaskets. Get that removed. And then go ahead and remove the backing material as well. Actually, what you could do is to go ahead and put this on the sensor itself with the backing material facing out, and then remove the backing material. And then what we'll do is go ahead and place this into the retainer for the parking sensor, making sure, of course, that they're facing in the correct direction. So we'll go ahead and slide this in between the brackets. And you want to make sure that the gasket itself fits into the hole the way that it should. And then go ahead and press it down. And that will secure the gasket to the bumper itself. Now, once you've got that done, then we're going to use these half-moon fillers. And using a small Phillips head screwdriver, we're going to go ahead and punch out the center of that filler. And then go ahead and remove the backing material. And you can see by looking at the back of the sensor itself, we've got a flat side here and a curved side there, just like we have on our filler panel. So we're going to go ahead and match that up, sticking the filler panel to the top of the sensor, like so. And then using these basically half-moon caps, we're going to go ahead and install that on top to lock it in place. Now you want to make sure when you install this that you push it down firmly and give it a good tug to make sure that it's locked into place. That way your sensor's not going to fall out. Now you can go ahead and repeat this process for the other three sensors. All right, now that we've got our parking sensors installed, it's time to go ahead and reinstall our harness. Now, we've already run our harness through because we're not making this a permanent addition to our vehicle, so we did not remove any of the retaining clips. you may want to choose to do that because there are no provisions on this bumper to be able to use them. So it might make it easier for you to route the wires if you don't have these clips in there. So you can just cut those off with a pair of wire cutters or a utility knife, something like that. And then what you want to do is, or at least what we did, start it from the center underneath the winch mount plate. You don't want to run your wires on top because then they're going to interfere with you mounting a winch if that's what you choose to do. So starting under the winch plate from the center, we're going to spread out and we're just going to route the wires to each side. And in the corner up here, there is a cutout between the front of the bumper and the support plate. So you can feed the wires connectors through there. And once you get through there, there's another one at the top of the other support brace here. And then you can route the wires over the top of the fog light mounting bracket and connect them to your sensors. That being said, once you've got the sensors connected, then it's time to go ahead and install your fog lights if that's what you're going to do as well. Now you can reuse the OEM fog lights, or if you have some aftermarket fog lights that you want to use, you can use those as well. Now one thing you can do to secure the wire harness once you get it installed is you can go to your local hardware store and buy these cable tie-down pieces. They've got a double-sided tape backing on them, so all you have to do is clean the area real good with some rubbing alcohol, pull the backing material off, and put it in place where you want to attach the wires to. And then you can use a small zip tie, such as this, to go ahead and you'll set your harness onto the mounting hardware like so, wrap the zip tie through the bottom openings of this mounting hardware, and then wrap it around the cable, and that will hold it in place. Now, like I said, since we're not making this a permanent addition to our vehicle, we're not actually going to worry about securing our wiring harness. And once you've got your harness run, you can simply go ahead and connect them to your parking sensors simply by pushing them in until it clicks and locks in place, and then give it a little tug just to make sure, and repeat this for all of your other parking sensors. Next thing we're going to do is install our end caps. Now you'll notice that there are 3 holes, actually there's 4 holes in the back side of this. We're only going to be concerned with the 2 here in the center. And we're going to mount this up to the bumper itself using these M6 combo bolts. It's got the flat washer and the lock washer already installed, and one of the flange nuts on each one. So we'll go ahead and set this into place, insert our screw, put our nut on the back side, and then install the second bolt. Put our nut on the back side of that. Now, using the supplied Allen key, what we're going to do is go ahead and line up and make sure that this is level across the cap and the bumper itself, and then we can start to tighten it down. So we'll just make it a little bit snug right now, just to give us a little bit of room to work. And again, make sure that they're level all the way across. And now we can go ahead and finish tightening up our bolts. And now you can repeat this same process for the other cap. All right, now we're just about ready to install the bumper onto our vehicle. So before we do that, we need to put our nut plates into place. So they are side specific. So the flat side that does not have the nuts attached to it, we're gonna have 2 bolts on the inside and 1 on the outside. So we're just gonna set this in place on the frame rail here behind our mounting plate. Now you can, to make things a little bit easier for you, if you want to, go ahead and put a couple of pieces of tape on there just to hold it to the back of the plate. They're sitting in place right now, so we're not going to bother doing that. And now we can install the second plate on the other frame rail. All right, for this next step, we're going to need a buddy. As you can see, I found one. So now we're going to lift the bumper up. And we're going to start by installing these M12 bolts with a lock washer and a flat washer coming from the inside of the bumper through the support plate, in through the mounting plate on the frame rails, and into our nut plate that we've already put in place. So we'll go ahead and get these started and then finish it up. All right, now that we've got our bolts installed and they're fairly snugged up, double check your alignment, make sure it's where you want it to be, side to side, make sure it's level. Now we can go ahead and use our 18mm socket and go ahead and tighten them up. Now that we've got the 2 inside ones done, now we can tighten down the outside one. All right, once you've got this side tight, you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, now we can go ahead and plug in our parking light sensor harness. Make sure it snaps into place. And now, like I said, you can use some zip ties to zip tie this to somewhere, or use those cable mounts that we talked about earlier to go ahead and put this in place and keep it out of the way. And now we can go ahead and reinstall our skid plate. So we'll slide in our rear mounts to the bolts that we left installed. Reinstall our original front bolts. And now tighten everything down with our 15mm socket. And one final step, now that everything's buttoned up, install our D-rings.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the Barricade Trail Force HD style full width front bumper fitting 2021 and newer Broncos, excluding the Raptor. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, for all things Bronco, be sure to keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.